Hi everyone, welcome to the CoLab, SpacetoCo's free monthly online sessions that are designed to assist those working in community venues to learn, upskill, and be inspired to do their work more effectively and efficiently. We hope you find these sessions useful for the important work you do in our local communities. We welcome you who are joining us right now at this live event, and also those who are watching this recording after the fact. My name is Shana Graham, and I'm part of the marketing team at SpacetoCo. My colleague Carmela organizes these monthly webinars, so I'm on at the moment because she's off on maternity leave. But I'm happy to be here. I love these sessions, and I'm happy to be sharing this with you. And just a little bit about SpacetoCo before we move on. SpacetoCo is a two-sided marketplace where you can list your spaces, and people can find and book them online. It is also an enterprise-level online booking system that helps you manage bookings and payments, keep in touch with hirers, gain insights from data, and so much more. We work with a number of local governments as well as community centres across Australia and New Zealand, and we also create and provide free resources for those working in community venues, like this webinar series. I am super excited for this month's collab session. This is our last collab session for the year, so I thought, why not go out with a bang? We're talking about why young people need community spaces and the importance of safe spaces. Community venues often look for ways to engage with youth, yet skip the important step of considering their dreams and needs. So today we will be delving into this topic, and hopefully by seeing the possibilities of spaces through young people's perspectives, venues can serve youth and their communities better. I'm excited about this topic, but I'm more excited about introducing you to our speaker today. She is an incredible human being. She does so much for our community here in Auckland, New Zealand, just with the creative arts and just young people in general. Yeah, I'm going to let her introduce her because she has a lot of experience and expertise. But yeah, let's welcome on Danielle Hao-Aicken. How's it going, Danielle?
Soda, can you hear me?
Yes.
Amazing. Oh my gosh, that's such a lovely spiel about me. That's crazy because obviously Shana is a wonderful human being as well. But kia ora, ko Danny, tuku ingoa. My name is Danielle Hao-Aicken, or Haltentan, and I'm the general manager here at Youth Arts New Zealand. But I do wear several hats within the creative industry here in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, Aotearoa, and I'm excited to get into that. I imagine this is where I start my spiel. Yes, fantastic. This is my presentation. As a creative individual within Aotearoa and just in general, I think we are all always wearing several hats, I think. And so I've tried to condense everything I'm part of into 4 different categories, as you can see here on the screen. But before I get into that, a little bit of a background about me is my creative practice is music. Music has always been my form of creativity. And before I came to Aotearoa at 16, I went to the Beijing Music Conservatory to study classical music. So after I moved to Aotearoa is when I started my journey of contemporary music and have since explored lots of different mediums, including photography, music journalism, and many other forms of creativity, as we all do. As you can see here, I am a person of color and I'm a wahine, or a woman. And so I do a lot of representation and advocacy within the music industry because of the different identities that I am and wear. I'm also within a lot of different creative community schemes. So I'm part of a lot of different awesome groups of people who support each other and uplift each other, including one specifically about representation and Indigenous rights. I am the general manager here at Youth Arts New Zealand, but previously I was a project lead, and previous to that, I was an associate at an artist management firm, and within that firm, we supported artists like Tofinga Fepuliai, who is a Samoan comedian, as well as Troy Kingi and the Modern Māori Quartet. So I've been in the music industry for a while now, including a bachelor's in music at Auckland University. Upon this, I am also sitting on the advisory board of Auckland City of Music, which is an initiative brought on by Tamaki Makaurau Auckland to become a UNESCO certified city of music, which we are. So a little bit about my mahi and my day job is Youth Arts New Zealand. Youth Arts is Aotearoa's leading social enterprise, generating equitable opportunities for rangatahi, or young people, to explore creativity, both as a career and a means of self-expression. It's important to note here that these are two different things, because while it's important to support our emerging artists, it's also important to support creativity as an identity and important aspect of people, regardless of whether they decide to pursue it professionally. And our vision is an Aotearoa where every young New Zealander knows the worth of their creative identity. A few things about us. You can see our impact here, and you can learn more about us on our website. But two of our biggest programs is Te Kāhui, which is an ongoing creative expression program for young people in corrections and underserved communities across the country. And we create spaces to connect with aspiring young storytellers in that way. We are supported by the Ministry of Culture and Heritage, and have engaged with over 30 correctional facilities and community spaces and served over 300 young people in the past year. Our other program, which just happened this weekend, is the Event Pathways program. It's the fourth iteration now of what is previously named the Music and Parks internship, which this year it's been held over the course of a weekend, and 10 rangatahi Pasifika, so young people of Pasifika descent, were able to learn about the workings of the events industry, from building a stage from scratch and then putting on a real concert for friends and family at the end. So through this, they were mentored by our friends at the Rock Factory, which are sound engineers, lighting engineers, and overall event superstars over the weekend. So they were able to learn the basics of what it takes to work at a real gig. After this program, they will have opportunities to work in the live event space through different Auckland Council events. And through our funding, we're able to pay them at these events so that they're able to get work before their CV is stacked and ready to be contractors of their own. So that's a little bit about my day job. I currently work with 8 to 9 other coworkers. We're all at different capacities. There are 4 members of the team that are on 4 days a week, and then the rest are part-time in different ways. And one thing about my company that is really close to my heart is we are all young people ourselves, and there is also pay parity across the board. So another kaupapa or community that I'm a part of is this movement called Where the Asians At. So this is a movement started in 2021 during the COVID lockdowns, pandemic, as a response to the pandemic, as well as Stop Asian Hate that was happening across the world. It was initially just conversations within people who identified as Asian in the music industry. And then we started a Facebook group and had just lots of conversations from there, especially in lockdown. We had these online boba sessions where maybe like 5 or 6 would turn out each session. And we talk about different topics, such as what representation meant to us, learning about the industry, sharing knowledge, and finding solace in each other while we're stuck at home. So it started off as a Facebook group, but then evolved very, very quickly to a full-on weekend festival at Potters Park, which is on Dominion Road, and a month installation at the Ponsonby Social Club. These 2 events ended up being called Asian Soundscapes, which I'll show you a photo of. So these are some of the initiatives that came out of Where the Asians At. As you can see here, there are 2, well, actually there's 3 different events, including a Wahine Asians on Tour kaupapa. These are all the gigs that I mentioned just then, which includes a Ponsonby Social Club installation, as well as a busking festival at Potters Park. Just going back quickly, the really, really awesome things that also came out of these conversations is, I guess, 3 different funding platforms. One of them is the Foundation North and Creative New Zealand Asian Artists Fund, which happens every year now. The New Zealand On Air New Music Pan Asian, which is also yearly, as well as a few songwriting camps that were specifically for musicians and artists who identify as Asian, which is super cool. It's really nice to be part of community things that create change and just not just conversation. It actually creates a movement and things come out of it, which is really awesome. And also the design was also by a lot of the team who created these events were Asian themselves, including the design team and the events team, etc. So I naturally am also part of a lot of third spaces within Aotearoa, just as a creative myself, especially during university when I didn't know a lot of people in Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland. I tried to put myself out there as much as possible, which meant being involved in community spaces and venues. And I also identify as queer and neurodivergent. So that's something that I found solace in terms of my peers. These are two really awesome creative venues that we just engage with. Te Oro is in Glen Innes, Auckland, and this is where we held our Event Pathways program this last weekend. And a little bit about them is that they're a music and arts center for young people, where often they'll rent it out for multi-purpose things, including dance classes and community, just food, kai nights, where they can come together and practice and learn the arts and express their creativity. And they often do this for a discount for the right kaupapa. In terms of Move Space, I was there from the beginning, from open mics to now there being a podcast studio, hot desking, co-working, photographer studio, and in-house photographers, and music studio, and in-house music producers. Move Space has a lot of things, including a creators club that I was part of for a small amount of time. And they would often have get-togethers where they shared what they were working on, very much in an uplifting, supporting each other sense. So at no point did any of it feel like a competition. It was all about shining and allowing each one of us to shine our own way, and not needing to dim our light for each other because we can all shine. There are many, many more community spaces that exist within Auckland and that I'm part of, but these are just two awesome examples. So going on to, I guess, what makes these community spaces accessible and what makes it create a space of safety. These are some ways that I've seen make me comfortable and things that I unconsciously and consciously look out for, which is representation at the staff and employment level. It says more than words when you are able to walk into a space and see a face like yours. And it's not just about the language, it's not just about the culture, it's about an innate understanding that young people will feel if they see someone that is of their of the different intersections of their identity. Another thing is accessibility at the forefront, not just physically, but also welcoming in terms of neurodiversity. So accessibility means ramps, wheelchair ramps, it means quiet spaces, it means ways for people to engage not just within one social media platform, because different generations now use different social media platforms. So it means accessibility in terms of going out to the young people where they are instead of asking the young people to, use Facebook. Another huge thing is provide manakitanga, which is hospitality and generosity. This means providing food, drink, providing pastoral care. A lot of young people might have insecurity in terms of where they find food and safety. So having that when you walk into a space is so, so important. And often I've seen young people, not have brought a dinner or lunch to a space, to an event. And so being able to provide that means they won't go hungry. Another way to do this is host events that provide space for diverse communities and allow the rangatahi to, in that space, to lead. So don't just put on events for young people or for diverse communities. Allow leaders in that space to work with you in terms of putting it on. So that also relates to representation at the employment level, which is allowing people who are from those communities to lead those events. And that also means actively engaging with audiences and building personal relationships. So if people come into your space and come to your events, you are not just a venue, but you're also a face that represents that. So having good conversations and making people feel welcome, or allowing you to hear them and hear what they need. And final, I think, relates to Aotearoa especially, as well as Australia, which is Indigenous consultation involvement, and allow the employment staff to have a good understanding of this. So work with local iwi, work with local Indigenous communities, and make sure that everything is at a level where you don't, not just you think it's appropriate, but that people from that community do as well. So finally, here's some brownie points in terms of what makes a space safe, which is have funding and grants to give young people for their own events, alongside mentorship and pairing them up with people who are professionals in the industry. So this is one thing that is quite difficult to attain, obviously, just because funding is a big question. But allowing young people and giving young people resources to put on their own events and allow them to learn and grow through doing is super, super important. Collaborate with grassroots organizations to host events within your space. So that's people like us, to be honest, at Youth Arts, which is working with us to deliver an event or a program within different venues, which allows us to then activate the space and cross-pollinate in terms of our community and that venue's community. Support local artists, connect with them personally, support with artist residencies, and allow artists to use your venue, hopefully, at a cost that isn't breaking the bank, because a lot of emerging artists aren't actually making a lot of money, surprise, surprise. And then finally, advocate for the communities that are a part of your venue and space, hear what they have to say, and make genuine change by listening. So this doesn't mean just sitting down with conversation. It means if your community within this venue thinks that there is something politically that they really want to stand for, that means perhaps listening to them and being able to support that kaupapa on a institutional level. So yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Very much here to answer questions and support with anything that I can, just with my experience. If you want to connect with my organization Youth Arts New Zealand, this is our website, Instagram, and email. Always open for collaboration and jumping on a Zoom at some point to discuss more. Yeah, that's me. Thanks, Shauna. Oh, I don't think I can. Oh, there we go.
Here we go. This is a thing. I told you guys, Danielle is incredible. She does a lot, and she does a lot for other people, and she's just an incredible person. I have a lot of questions for you, Danielle, and everyone on the session. Please feel free to type in your questions here too. Yeah, so for you, this is maybe like a quick question. What constitutes a young person for you? So what's the age range that you serve with Youth Arts New Zealand?
So we're very, very loosely defined with what we define as young people. Very roughly, it is 30 and under is what we consider rangatahi or young people. But we also say that if you identify as a young person, that we include you within our spaces. And what we also like to do is use the word rangatahi or young person adjacent for anyone who doesn't just define themselves as young.
Cool. So like young at heart, I guess. Or, that's right. That's right. And I think for you, I mean, working with other young people, obviously, at Yans and just in your kind of creative practice, what have you found to be really important to young people at the moment? What's weighing on the young, like the rangatahi's minds and hearts, if you can summarize that?
Right now, it's probably, I'm noticing more and more young people are aware of the state of the world and things that are happening around the world. I'm noticing young people are really involved in activism and things to do with supporting others. And so that's one thing I think young people are really passionate about right now. So a lot of the creativity and art revolves around advocacy. Um, and I'm very proud, I guess, of this next generation being more and more knowledgeable and educated in that way. And everyone's using social media to talk about these things now. So I guess, yeah, young people are very interested in making change and coming together and advocating for those who don't have a voice.
That's awesome. I'm also kind of even seeing like the climate stuff and all that. Yeah, like you said, activism and yeah, just thinking about the world. Um,
Yeah.
some people might think that engaging with young people can be quite intimidating. Maybe I don't know if there's maybe an age gap or anything like that. What would you say to a community venue like team member or staff member who are thinking about engaging with young people? Like, what do you have any tips, or yeah, how would you just tell people to be like it's
Mm.
okay? Yeah, what would you say to them?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, it is okay. And also, it's important to note that even as a 25-year-old, we just have a 18-year-old intern jump on board at our team, and she makes me feel old. You know, like the generations and the conversations and the language is changing so rapidly. So it's very, very normal to feel maybe like a an age gap and adjustment in that way. So I guess my advice would be to talk to young people, have them on your team, have them involved in things. And so you're not trying to speak for young people. You're actually having young people involved in the consultation and the doing and the producing. And then it will be so much easier because it comes naturally. It comes innately to a young person to do things that they know it instead of how you know it.
With Youth Arts New Zealand, because how long has Jens been what do you call it? Been in an organization? How long has Jens been around?
It was founded in 2017 by three Rangataki themselves who have since moved on. So we're in the second generation of this organization.
Amazing. So yeah, there's always young people. Marianne Kingma has said she's 51 and she's a 16-year-old trainee. She feels ancient. You are not. You are young at heart. What is it? Young person adjacent. You are.
Yes. Yeah.
um, yeah, I think. Have you found kind of, I don't know, in terms of like conversing with young people, or if say you've been talking to people that aren't young person adjacent or whatever, like what's been a good, I don't know, good kind of characteristics of like do you ask people to be kind of open minded about I don't know, like what young people think, and or have you found any problems with just trying to talk to people who
Mm.
might not see things from your perspective? Yeah, what would
Mm.
you say to those people?
Yeah, I guess I've seen a lot of programs and organizations recently that are um, creating programs for young people without being, without having someone on the team that can talk to them about what they are seeing successful. And therefore, when that program is launched, they don't actually end up connecting with a large community of young people. So I guess for me, it's extremely important to have people from that community involved if you are wanting that to happen. Um, so I guess it's about having an open mind and also recognizing that young people are incredible now. Like it's just ridiculous how overachieving some people are, and every generation it's like ridiculous how amazing people are becoming. So it's just about recognizing the leaders within that space and acknowledging that um, you can't actually create the perfect program for a community if you're not a part of it, but you can facilitate that.
That's incredible, even saying that you can't create a perfect program if you're not part of that community. Just,
Mm.
I mean, sounds like a no-brainer, but sometimes people miss that. I think that there's a little disconnect. Um, Connie, actually from a beautiful venue here in Auckland, has asked theoretically, if we were to secure funding for rangatahi led projects, can you please give some advice about the best ways to advertise that? and engage with young people directly?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I can use our program that was just this weekend as an example because over this past weekend we engaged with we had applications of over 50 Rangatahi to be part of our program. We could only choose from 10, but because of that many people signing up, it made me realize that our outreach program this time was awesome, which is involving different organizations and their communities. So it's about cross-pollination, in my opinion. That is the best way to reach new people and best way to reach young people, which is making sure that there are leaders who can spread that word of mouth, who can share it on their social medias that are already established to have young people going to that page and paying attention. So it's just about making sure that you can advertise it to, even if you just DM someone on Instagram who have a large following, to young people who have an established community of young people, especially young. There are so many different social medias that do this. Just making sure that there's cross posting, making sure that there is outreach to different people who can spread the word. So you can't do it all yourself, in my opinion, when it comes to outreach. It's everyone stands together, and we have a lot of relationships with other organizations that we've never met, but we've just send messages to each other being like, can you share this? Oh, can you share this for us? Like it's just about outreach in that way.
Did you have to do a little bit of, I guess, research in terms of like organizations that would be, I don't know, a good partner for the event and stuff like that?
Definitely, yeah. And so, like every program, obviously, you write down a list of all the key aspects that you want to hit in terms of, okay, this is a young person event. This is specifically for people who are of Pacifica descent. This is blah, 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 blah. These are for musicians. So you write down all those key factors and you try and hit all of those within the organizations that you reach out to.
Awesome. I think,
And also, I just
go
want to
ahead.
add influencers. Get those. When I say influencers, I mean people who are young, established on social media, who like also want to support, because like we all want to help each other. So reach out to people who have already established followings and ask them to share it, or share it with people they think could also support it.
That's awesome. I mean, that was actually like an answer to the question I was about to ask, which was, I guess Connie is based in Auckland, and I know some of you are also based in Auckland or New Zealand. Specifically, like, what are organizations that you have found to be really awesome partners with young people kind of programs, and hopefully our Australian counterparts can kind of have a look. Yeah. So, do you know off the top of your head any kind of awesome organizations that you can recommend?
Yes, absolutely. Let me just look up the acronym for this. New Zealand. Obviously, UFARTS is a really good one. You should check those out. Uh, Otherwise, we also work with PAYPA, which is Payaypa, which is Performing Arts Young People and something, something, something. I always forget acronyms, unfortunately, but they also support young people within the creative arts. I would say that there's a lot of organizations within specific art forms. So if you're looking for people who are young, who are musicians, there's something. If you're looking for people who are young in circus, there's Circability. So I think it's important to go deep in terms of what specifically you're wanting to collaborate with, in terms of art form, in terms of community. And I can guarantee you there's something for everyone.
This is more of a personal question. So you mentioned that you try to put yourself out there in Auckland, and you didn't really know anybody. Um,
Mm.
as a young person, what was that like, and what did you find helpful in terms of just, I guess, your own development as a young person, maybe from
Mm.
community venues or organizations, and what did you not find helpful, so that our venues here can kind of see what to do and what not to do. I don't know if that makes
Mm.
any sense.
Yeah, I moved to Auckland when I was 18 and about to start university, and it honestly took me until maybe last year to actually feel established within my community and in this city. It was very, very difficult at first because it does feel like it's got a lot of pockets of different things, and it's really hard to actually insert yourself. So I actually felt quite hopeless in terms of finding employment that suited what I wanted to do and establishing myself as a musician at the beginning. I'm not quite sure what it was that made me feel unwelcome. I guess it was just a lack of um, connections. And so I think I would have really appreciated more events that facilitated conversations and facilitated getting to know new people, because it really is quite overwhelming stepping into a room and knowing nobody. And I've been to several conferences now where people don't facilitate that welcoming space, don't have an intro section at the beginning, going around and talking about who you are and what you stand for. And I think that's always helped me break the ice in terms of being in spaces that feel welcoming. There's always a moment at the beginning where, okay, if you don't know someone, then someone will introduce you or someone will introduce themselves so that you have something to talk about with them, so you don't feel like you are left out of the blue to stand in the corner by yourself.
It's awesome. And I think, I guess, coming off of that, you talked about safe spaces, the importance of safe spaces. Can you
Mm.
talk a little bit more about that, maybe from your own kind of perspective, as someone neurodivergent or queer, and just why that's so important for our young people and how venues can do that practically, and yeah, how they can start to even offer a safe space.
Mm. I guess the most important thing to remember is it's not an overnight change. Like, to be able to go from a venue that perhaps isn't doesn't seem to be engaging with young people as much to one that has young people at the forefront and allows people to be there on a safe basis. I would say that having um, mentors or tuakana there is extremely important. Just having people who young people can look up to and talk to, who understand them and can provide support, um, is just extremely important. And that's what I really enjoyed when I first came to Auckland, is finding those mentors. And they helped me open some doors. They helped me with my career. Um, and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be in the space that I am now. And I'm trying to, I guess, pass that on in some ways as well to this next generation. So I guess, yeah, I guess all those points that I mentioned in my presentation is good, to start creating a safe space, but also just making sure that you actually got people who are role models for young people in your space, who are there to make accessibility happen, and are able to provide this kind of like big sister, big brother mentality.
Yeah, awesome. And I think that kind of speaks into what you were saying about like representation as well, of like having somebody that you can, that looks like you, or that, you can relate to. And as someone, with different facets of their identity,
Yeah.
what does that mean to you, the whole representation kind of aspect of things as a young person? You did mention it in your presentation, but I'd like to kind of just hear from your sort of personal experience about like how massive representation is for you.
Mm. Honestly, it is most things that I think about now in terms of when I look at music festival lineups, when I look at rooms that I walk into that's music industry based. Um, there's a sense of, okay, wow, I guess I'm the only one here from this background, and that's not a cool feeling. And I've definitely been in spaces where I am there to represent my entire Asian community, and that doesn't feel good either, because it's so much pressure to have on one person to represent a whole community. And in order for those voices to be heard, there need to be people from that background in order to speak that. So representation is everything that we think about here at UFA. It's everything I do in my music industry mahi. And I guess as someone who has not witnessed a lot of that in the earlier years of my professional career, it is something that I'm actively working on changing, because I've seen it impact so many young people. And seeing faces like mine on stage, on screen, it's what's motivated me and made me feel more empowered to keep going.
That's awesome. I've got a question here. Where you say to go to where the young people are,
Mm.
instead of just putting something on, kind of stepping back and letting the young people come to you. Um, yeah, where are the young people, Danielle? Where are they hanging out? Like, I guess this is sort of like another angle of what's important to young people these days. But like, even say social media, because like honestly, I'm sure people out here like, are they all on TikTok? Are they? What are they doing? Like, um, where are young people communicating? Where are they hanging
Mm.
out? What are they up to?
Yeah, it's a lot of social media. Not gonna lie, it's social media is a curse and a blessing of our generation. It has made us more connected and less connected, but um, it is indeed social media. TikTok is not as big as you think, but it is important. Um, it is. This is not something I'm on, but it's Snapchat for some reason. Young people are on Snapchat again. It's. I know it really blew my mind. See, like I'm feeling old now, but indeed it is social media, um, and those with influence on social media often get a lot of, I guess, conversations within their comments, within their broadcast channels. So yeah, it is social media. I'm sorry to say this. It's not emails. It's not LinkedIn. It's not Facebook. It's Instagram and TikTok.
Incredible. Oh my gosh. Wow. I didn't know about Snapchat. I thought everyone
Yeah.
was on TikTok, but
Oh.
wow, that's incredible. So
Hmm.
you learn something new every day. Well, I think that's. I mean, I guess from wrapping up what you've talked about is that I guess involving young people and actually asking those questions and making sure that they are taking the lead in these programs or taking the lead in some sort of kind of capacity at your venue is probably a safe bet to engage with young people and getting them to, I don't know, yeah,
Yeah,
hang out with you. I guess I don't know if that's is that correct to say?
absolutely, 100%. And you'd be actually like surprised by how much you can learn from them as well. I certainly have from our 18-year-old.
Wow, incredible. Marion had a question as well. What type of content is most engaging on social media at the moment?
um, Honestly, like I can give you a spiel about what's most popular right now and things that I've seen, pop off in terms of like going viral. But at the end of the day, as a content creator myself, it doesn't matter because it really doesn't. Like you just need to say what you need to say, and um, the right people will engage with you if you are building community. So I don't think venues and spaces like ours are trying to create social media that goes viral. Like that's not the point of what we're trying to make in terms of content. We want to make content that is engaging for the few people that actually we can make a difference with, and not maybe 200K viewers who watch a video for 1 second. It doesn't really matter in that way. Um, so I think you should just make content to what suits what's going on within your space right now, which is what programs are on, uh, being more personable, which is introducing your team, putting a face to your organization, um, maybe also providing resources for young people that you think are accessible on your website, but a lot of young people won't read paragraphs and paragraphs of information. Maybe it's more engaging through video content and someone speaking along with subtitles to make it accessible. So it's just about making sure that you make what your current content is accessible through the mediums that young people consume now.
Yeah, I think I've also found to, I guess speaking with like younger kind of people, my siblings, for example, and that value authenticity, like as young people. Like I think people yeah, people have this kind of radar that they know that like if you're not being true to yourself, they can see that, like see through you. And so I think you're right in terms of just yeah, just doing you, but in a way that can communicate to as many
Mhm,
people, well, not as many people, but to those people that you want to reach. Um,
mhm.
yeah. Well, if you have any other questions, everyone, just type it in the comment section. But also, Danielle, how can people? You had your slide, but what's the best way that people can reach you? if they do have questions about this topic or anything else. Would it be your email, or yeah, how do people reach you?
Yeah, I can put my email in the chat. Otherwise, you can find me on LinkedIn or on Instagram if you feel like reaching someone on Instagram. But yeah, very, very accessible through email and social media if you like. Very, very happy to jump on conversations, Zooms to see how I can help, or I could even direct you to people who can help. I have a fantastic team here at Youth Arts, and all of us are parts of different communities as well. So if you have a specific question about something, I can direct you to the right person as well.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Danielle. Just as a final word, what's your, I guess, if you had any parting words, or what's the most important thing that you can impart to our audience today? If they forget everything, is there anything that you want to say?
Um, I guess the fact that, yeah, I think it's important to just give it a try and put yourself out there, because I think, as with all things, it takes time. And patience is something I've had to learn myself, and trusting in the process, and trust that if you have good intentions, good things will come out of it, as long as you, yeah, just keep note of all the things that are part of the communities that you want to be a part of.
Thank you so much, Danielle. See, guys, I told you she's amazing. Also, I'm just gonna plug you and your sister, man. Like the Ursha Island, the and Danielle herself. She's an incredible musician. So we'll definitely put some links in our post event email for their music. So please check them out. They're incredible. Oh man, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. So we'll just wrap it up a little bit. Thanks, Danielle. Um, so this is our last collab session this year, but we have heaps more in the pipeline for next year. If you have any topic ideas, please let us know. Yeah, just reach out to us at SpacetoCo. But if you want any more resources, we've got heaps of resources for community venues. Just go to SpacetoCo or spacetoco /guides. Um, yeah, and see you next year. Like I said, if you have any topics, please reach out to us. Let us know what you want to learn about, what experts you want to come on for next year's sessions. Have an awesome holiday season, everyone. Hope you guys have a great rest. Lucky for us out in the southern hemisphere, it's gonna be sunny, so have a great summer. Um, yeah, thank you so much again, Danielle. All the best, and yeah, we'll see you next year.